Hello everyone. Okay. this is a this is one of the hardest testimonies for me that I came out of because it's about my mother. I'm gonna rewind a little bit, like a couple of months before she passed. So November of 2005, it dropped in me so heavy to have Thanksgiving at my house and to call all of my siblings, all of my mother's children, to celebrate Thanksgiving with her this year. I mean, that thing wouldn't leave me. And so so at that point I lived in Jacksonville, and none of my siblings were from Jacksonville. So they all were still up north or whatever. So I called them and everybody agreed to come. I have one brother, so one of my siblings didn't come, but so three came, and then some of my mother's grandchildren or whatever. And so one of my sisters can cook really well, so I asked her to cook and I buy all of the food. So all of the food my mother loved. My mother loved Thanksgiving, so my sister cooked. I think they stayed like a week or so, and everybody stayed at my house, and it was amazing. My mother, you could see it all over her face. She was so happy that she was in tears, and we took family pictures together and everything. So it was nice. We played games. It was such a beautiful Thanksgiving, and my husband and I, we were living together at the time. We were in the church and everything. Remember I said we were sleeping in two separate rooms or whatever, but everybody was to my house for this particular Thanksgiving. So I just, it was beautiful. My mother got to spend time with her children and her grandchildren. So fast forward to February, my mother fell sick. Now, everything that you could have from smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol, my mother had it. That's why I'm a health nut. And I don't drink or smoke, and barely did when I was even in the world. My mother had heart disease, lung disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, you name it. So I got a call that my mother was in the hospital. She was on a respirator. And so when I went there, I was like, oh my God, my mother's not going to make it. So I called my oldest sister and everything and say, hey, mama's in the hospital. I don't think she's going to make it, or whatever the case may be. So my second oldest sister ended up coming. And my mother, she made a recovery. And me and my sister found her a really nice facility. They said your mother have to be in rehabilitation for about 2 weeks, but other than that, she'll be fine. So me and my sister found a really nice one, and my sister went back to where she lived. And so I set everything up for my mother. Me and my mother was talking and laughing because she ended up having a trach. But she ended up getting a voice back or whatever. And I was like, Mama, you sound like a robot, just playing with her and just having a nice time loving on her in the hospital, and took her to the facility or whatever. My mother lasted in there one day. I took my kids to see her, whatever, like I had to schedule her a hair appointment, bought her all these clothes and everything. My mother lasted in there one day, and then she died. And I was so upset with God. At that time, I didn't know, they always say, the Lord take it. I didn't know. I thought he took my mother. I was upset with him. How could you do this when you knew me and her? You had me thinking everything was all right, and then you took her. God doesn't take us. You know what I mean? God doesn't inflict disease and different things on us. So, I was mad at the wrong person, but I was so upset with the Lord. And in my previous videos, I told you guys it was only one time I was mad at God, and this was it. So this right here destroyed me. And I'll tell you guys why. So I'll talk to you tomorrow. You have a blessed day.